My first hire was a tragic mistake. I learned so much during the process. So I had started doing a lot more public speaking, and at a particular event, a guy showed up with a video camera and asked if he could record the speech and then he would create a video afterwards. And I was so excited for the prospect of somebody wanting to film me and turn it into a video that I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. He recorded the video. He created a really cool clip and series of videos out of that speech I gave. And he asked if I was looking for any more video stuff or if I had any other needs. And at the time, the only thing I had going was my first podcast. And I said, I'm looking for somebody who can edit podcasts. Would that be something you'd be interested in doing? And he said, I've never done it, but I'd give it a go to learn it because he just needed some sort of income coming in. As you do when you hire somebody, especially early on, I did what I call a dump and run, and literally all I did was record a few podcast episodes interviewing guests, and then I just handed it to him and said, hey, let's see what you can do. I didn't give him any direction. I didn't give him any kind of outcome that I wanted. And let's just say his first editing stuff that came back was not the greatest stuff. I knew that he had no working knowledge of what I was looking for, but I went into it with the assumption that I was going to be able to or he was going to be like an expert in what he was doing and would just naturally be able to pick this up and run with it. And the funny thing about it is he did nothing wrong, even though the content was drastically the opposite of what I was looking for. When he came back, I remember we had the conversation of what the hell is this? And he said, dude, you didn't give me any direction. You didn't tell me what you wanted. You didn't tell me, what to expect or what to create out of this. And so I had to go back and record a series of videos showing exactly what I wanted done, how I wanted it edited, how I wanted it brought to the table. And the fascinating thing is, from here on out, that him and I were working together, I never had a problem one. He took it and run. So kind of the first lesson I learned, I had to get really good at the podcasting thing. I had to get really good at recording. I knew how to edit. I knew how to, chop up the videos and do all the things. Then I had to, because I got good, I was ultimately able to get really, really, really good at hiring him, which became a great relationship to build out the podcast. And I think we did 150 some odd episodes together. He crushed it because he was really, really talented and good at what he did. He was one of the key factors in the success behind that podcast. It was this premise that I was starting to wrap my head around and really start to understand that to hire great people, you've got to be good enough in whatever you're hiring for that you can understand what great actually is. I can tell you that when I found Kevin, who's now the COO of the company, at that point I had done a lot of different things that allowed me to ask a lot of different questions as he came on board. And I hired Kevin first for email marketing, and by the time I'd hired him, I'd been spending about a year studying, learning, figuring out email marketing and everything that I was going to need and be able to need or be able to do. And if I hadn't broke the mail program and needed help fixing it, I probably wouldn't have found Kevin to come along for the ride. But Kevin and I, we hit it off really, really well because Kevin's freaking amazing and great at what he does. But the better side of it is it wasn't like what I did with a podcast where I was dumping all my stuff at him and saying, hey, let's figure it out. We were able to actually collaborate and brainstorm. Now, I will say early on, him and I got too far in the weeds on different things because we were both just ecstatic about having somebody else that we could bounce ideas off of and do and build things. But by having a working knowledge of what I needed him to do, it allowed him to ramp up a lot quicker, understand my brand, and be able to build out at a pace and a rate that was just absolutely game changing. And because him and I got so dialed into all the things that we were building and creating, we were able to start hiring and bringing on people who were other specialists in their niches. And we were able to hire them more specifically. But I went through this series of hiring a lot of the wrong people. And the reason I ended up hiring a lot of the wrong people is I was constantly looking for a solution that was more along the lines of a silver bullet. I wanted that person that would just be able to strategize, implement, understand my brand, understand my voice, be able to communicate effectively in the social outlets is where I made most of my screw ups. And I've kept ultimately getting a lot of broke-minded people. So what I didn't understand was, because I didn't have a working knowledge of what I was hiring them for, whether it was Instagram or Pinterest or whatever other VA type works, and it is what a lot of the hiring I did early on was that if I didn't have a working knowledge, then I could only assume that they knew what they were doing. And I remember one time I had this young lady working for me, and she was doing what I felt like, or what felt like a lot of things. And it felt like that she was completely dialed into the platform that I had her working on. And the interesting thing was when I actually went in and pulled the stats and all the things she was doing, none of it was actually working. And as we dove into it, I started asking questions, and what I found out is she really didn't know anything about the platform. So I got what I call extreme happy ears during the hiring process, because this person showed up in a time when she was fulfilling a need that I was looking for, and instead of doing my due diligence of going and understanding the platform that I was hiring for to get a working knowledge of what kind of questions and things I needed to ask, I ended up hiring the complete wrong person, and then keeping that person for way too long because I just kept making assumptions that they knew what they were doing. So what I can tell you now is that you need to start looking at the things that you want to hire for and ask one very powerful question. And that question is what's the working knowledge I need to have to be able to hire for greatness? If you hire the rookie, you hire the beginner, you hire, the person that's on the up and coming, you're going to find yourself in trouble often. There are some amazing exceptions. If you can find the person that completely geeks out on what they do, then, and they're early in the game, but they're completely geeked out on it, they're trying to learn it, and you can tell this is just something they're completely into, then hire that person quickly, because that is going to be an amazing relationship. You may most likely won't keep them forever because they likely have other ambitions beyond just working for you, but that's okay, because I will pay for that learning of that individual, for them to learn to be great in whatever it is that they're geeking out on. I often ask myself the question, or I'll make the statement of, okay, this is an area we're moving the company into. Like, so we're heavy on YouTube right now and learning that and that process. We're heavy on podcasting and learning that process. So I have to ask myself a question to say, okay, I don't know how YouTube works, right? So because I don't know how YouTube works, I can't just hire somebody to take care of YouTube for me without a working knowledge of it, because then I'm just pissing in the wind, if you will, hiring people. So I have to literally, what I did is went and started a YouTube channel and dove into it to really wrap my head around this whole idea of how do I make this work. And that's how I found Lou, who does all the back end of the podcast. I was in the middle of learning all of it, and he just happened to pop up at a right time of us getting this really dialed in and rocking and rolling. But because I'd been studying YouTube and figuring out what we wanted to do and how we want to put things out there, it was a fun conversation of the objectives, the outcomes, and the things that I wanted to have happen paired up to with his working knowledge and the things that he was learning as he ramps up and continues to go. So it's been a really fun, cool thing. You've got to be good enough to be dangerous so that you can hire for greatness. Because look, I mean, at the end of the day, people aren't going to come work for you to make you money. They want to be part of something. They want to be around a mission, a purpose. They want to feel like they're accomplishing something. And the only way that you can find people that are willing to do that for you is you've got to be dangerous enough in the moment to be able to ask the right questions, to find what I call Mustangs, those ones that just want to really run for you. But you've got to be the lead horse. Go look at your business and look at the areas where you don't have working knowledge of, and get enough knowledge that you can be dangerous enough at it to be able to go higher for greatness. Hope you got something out of this, guys. A lot of fun to put together. Great way for me to disseminate some of the things that we've done as I built the business. I will continue to document the journey of everything that we've done to help you as much as possible. Do me a favor and comment below. What are some of your hiring, tragedies or hiring stories, or what are some of your wins when it came to hiring? Be awesome. And do me a favor, please, if you like this video, please like it below. If you haven't, subscribe and ring that bell and share this out with one person. It will mean the world to me. And as always, love you, mean it. See you, bye.